The year was 2007, and on a crisp November evening, 12-year-old Moosey sat down and started his first venture into Rapture. To say BioShock had an influence on my tiny prepubescent mind is an understatement. It simultaneously scared me to death and changed the way I perceived the concept of free will. But it's also one of the few games that I haven't done a challenge run on. So with that being the case, and it being the anniversary of my first delve into the underwater hellscape, I decided to see if I can beat BioShock without using plasmids. Here are the rules of the run. I'm not allowed to use plasmids to damage enemies, but I will have to use them to get through some obstacles. Let's get started. Jack lights up a cigarette, and as proof that smoking is bad for you, his plane crashes. Then after a brief swim, I make my way down to Rapture, where I immediately witness a murder. I pick up a wrench, then beat a splicer to death with it because when you move to a new place, it's important to try and fit in. After this, I come across a vending machine and get my first plasmid, the electro bolt. Then I'm immediately forced to use it to open a door. I fix some splicer's teeth with my wrench, pick up a pistol, and after witnessing a Big Daddy hole punch one of the morons, I have to fight a large wave of enemies. Then like a tinfoil hat wearing maniac, Ryan Adam accuses me of being CIA.
So tell me, friend, which one of the bitches sent you? The KGB wolf or the CIA jackal?
Since I have a wrench, I try my hand at some plumbing and get locked out of the emergency access controls. So now I have to make my way to the medical district to get the key. But luckily I find myself a sweet machine gun. Then after infecting a bunch of splicers with lead poisoning, Dr. Steinman blows up the entrance to his surgery. And now I have to get the telekinesis plasmid to remove the debris. The only thing standing between me and this newfound power though is a bunch of splicers and some ice. So I grab Incinerate, melt the ice, get killed by a security bot, pick up a shotgun, blast my way to telekinesis, clear the way to surgery with it, and now I have to fight the good doctor in a boss fight that lasted about a minute because he's allergic to buckshot. I grab his key, steal all the shit from his containers, then come across my first little sister. For this run, I decided to rescue all of them, because I'm not going to be buying any plasmid upgrades, so I don't really need to get excess amounts of Adam. Plus, I felt like being nice for once. Immediately after this, I kill a Big Daddy and rescue another one, open the access tunnel, and head down to Neptune's bounty. I rescue another little sister, and collect my reward for not being a twat. I make my way to Fontaine Fisheries, but Peach won't let me in until I take some pictures for him, and I oblige because I don't kink shame. Once that's out of the way, I return to him and he lets me in, only to take my weapons and try to kill me. But luckily, I still had my wrench, so I bashed in their skulls, and I head through Arcadia to get to Fort Frolic. Then Andrew Ryan decides to poison all the trees. I bring a rose to Dr. Langford to see if she can help, but she gets murdered. So now I have to go and make an antidote for them by myself. And that entails me wandering around looking for chemicals while rescuing more little sisters and dying a bunch of times in the process. I collect some enzymes from some angry bees, some distilled water from some drunkards, some chlorophyll from some splicers, then return to Langford's lab to mix the solution. But lo and behold, I need to deal with a few waves of enemies before it finishes. Once the trees are alive again, I get killed by a Big Daddy that jump scared me, then I head to Fort Frolic. And when I arrive, I'm greeted by Sander Cohen, an artist. And like most artists, he's a deranged psycho. He locked the metro to get to Hephaestus, and to get his key, I have to take pictures of his former apprentices' corpses, then place them on his current art project. He gives me a crossbow, and once I manage to get all the pictures, I finish his sculpture, then he decides to give me a massive monologue. But I can't be asked to listen to him, so I just shoot him. And after I fill him with more lead than a pencil factory, I half-inch his key, make my way to Hephaestus, fight through some splicers to get to Andrew Ryan's office, but I can't get in till I overload the security system. So I head to the power core, give a Big Daddy the shock of his life, save a little sister, make my way through a gauntlet of enemies, rescue another sister, then after crawling through a hole in the wall, I come across the EMP bomb I have to use to shut down the core. But to get it working, I have to collect some parts from some conveniently placed Big Daddy corpses, and 2 quarts of ionic gel. Once I've collected them, I nab some nitroglycerin, put the bomb together, then after grabbing it, I have to turn this really slow valve to release some lava into a flooded room so I can pass through it. And of course, while I do this, I get attacked by an army of arseholes. Right after this, I place the bomb on the core, sit back and watch the sparks fly. And as a last-ditch effort to stop me getting to him, Ryan Adams sends a wave of security bots and splicers after me, but I swatted them like flies. But this was clearly the straw that broke the camel's back, because right after this he decides to try and blow up the entire city. I swiftly make my way to his office to find the absolute Chad playing golf while waiting for the explosion to kick in. Then he gives me the iconic speech, whilst I give him a homebrew lobotomy.
Juices!
I grab his genetic key and insert it into his computer to disengage the self-destruct. Then we get a plot twist reveal. Atlas is a knob. Yeah, it turns out he was just using me because he wanted to take over Rapture. I'd be lying if I said I understood why, as I wouldn't want to take over a place that's leakier than my nose at the minute. Yep, I made a joke about me being ill. Sue me. He sends some security bots after me, and I run away from them and some little sisters help me escape. I wake up from a nice sleep, then as I leave, Atlas tells me a phrase that lowers my health. So like most English people, I have to go find a specific drink to forget it. I go tromping through the slums of the metro, gunning down troves of splicers, until I arrive at the apartment suites. Now what you're supposed to do here is head upstairs and find the code for the lift. But because I've played this game through a fair few times, I remember the code. If you're curious, it's 5744. In a twist of irony, I have to fight through a Zen garden, then once I drink the sauce, I have the added annoyance of my character constantly switching to random plasmids, so I have to be extra careful not to hit anyone with them by mistake. And now I have to get another dose of the Vol concoction to return to normal. While on the way, I rescue 2 more little sisters, and after making my way through what can only be described as underwater Birmingham, I arrive at the free clinic, which for some reason is covered in more blood than a vampire's basement. I drink the last of the elixir, and then backtrack all the way through the metro tunnels, rescue another sister along the way, then I make my way to Point Prometheus. When I arrive, Atlas throws a pillar on the ground like a toddler having a tantrum, shoots the lift controls and runs away. And I can't chase him till I transform myself into a big daddy. I find the boots in a library of all places, the helmet in candidate induction, the body from armor failsafes, and this is something that's always annoyed me about this part. Why can we still see Jack's hand and jumper? There's even a pair of gloves on this table that they could have got you to wear. And if not the gloves, why not just remove his jumper and make his sleeves brown or something? It's a nitpick, sure, but it's always bothered me. Then I have to collect 3 bottles of Big Daddy aftershave from the Little Wonders facility, rescue another helpless Sprog, get my voice box shredded and optimized eugenics, then make my way back. And now I have to get a little sister to open some doors for me whilst protecting her from some enemies, which is a pain in the arse because she constantly stops to drain Adam from corpses. And since she refuses to hide somewhere to let me deal with the enemies, she ended up being game-ended by a splicer. So I call another one, and we get about halfway through the next part until she bites it as well. I grab a third one, hoping that she would have better chances than the others. Then I have to fight a Big Daddy that is pissed off because I stole his job and was probably aware of how shit I am at it. I finally escort her to the end of our little journey, and she gives me with an Adam harvester, and I head up the lift to have my final confrontation with Atlas, who's decided to model himself after Dr. Manhattan for some reason. This boss fight isn't too hard on this current run, as his moveset remains the same whenever you drain the Adam from him. He does a Rhino charge that you can easily dodge, within reason, and he throws projectiles at you. After spending a few minutes fighting his 3 forms and draining every last drop of Adam from him, he pimp slaps me, then the little sisters gank him to death. And we get a short preview of Jack dying on his deathbed surrounded by the sisters that he gave a new chance at life. And with that, I beat BioShock without using plasmids. Revisiting BioShock was an amazing experience, and this run was especially fun to do, so expect more BioShock runs in the future. I apologise for my voice in this video. As much as I wanted to get it done, I know it might not be fun listening to a voice that sounds like a gecko swallowing a fish. But I hope you had as much fun watching as I did making it. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe. If there's a specific run you want to see me do, or you just want to say hi, feel free to leave a comment. And I'll see you next time.